What's going on, world? Want to let you guys know that I just launched the Patreon channel and that we got a lot of exclusive perks over there. So if you're interested in joining the Patreon, click the link below, check out what we got going on. And yeah, until next time. What's going on, world? It's your boy Gemini Brown here, back with another episode of Natal Kicking Knowledge. Today, we'll be taking a look at Mercury in the first house and what it's like to have Mercury in the first house of your natal astrology chart. So, let's get into it. What's Mercury? Mercury corresponds to the analytical mind. And in comparison to Jupiter, it's the lower mind. So we think of Jupiter as the higher mind, Mercury is the lower mind. What does this lower mind do? It corresponds to how we communicate our thoughts, our ideas, how we do things like read, write, and take in information, okay? So the more I progress, it's a large part of our our social profile, right? Our Mercury, our ability to get out there and socialize a bit. That's also a bit more Venus-like, but Mercury has a strong influence in this regard. And the first house represents our rising sign. And in the physical sense, our actual physical body. In another sense, things that we show at face value. Qualities and traits very obvious towards others. So when you get Mercury here in the first house, very comfortable position for Mercury regardless of sign. But of course you will want the Mercury well aspected. So what you need to know about these type of people is that their lifeline is communication. Now, it doesn't always have to be that they are the communicator. It'll be that they value communication. They need things around them that keep them in line with it. So it's one thing that I've come to find is like someone with like a Mercury in Aquarius in the first house, let's say it squares something like Neptune. It may not necessarily be the most talkative sign, okay? It may not be the most talkative sign, but when it comes to technology, it having the ability to express itself better in those ways. So what you'll have here is that before technology was able to catch up and provide that person with those tools, that Mercury felt a little lost, hence the square, okay? But now in this day and age, more tools, more ways of getting that one's point across. So it's not always a matter of this person talks a lot or anything like that, but rather they're seeking to take information in, and the next part, what do they do with that information? So when you get this Mercury in earth signs like a Capricorn, a Virgo, or a Taurus, it's gonna, anything that it learns, it's not only gonna want to communicate or know more about it, but it really wants to apply it towards the personality and who it is, okay? So in another, something more like water, we have Mercury here in the water sign, really intuitive, feeling his way through the environment. So these may not be big talkers, but more so having their moods or their communication styles affected by the environment around them. When we get to fire and air, we have Mercury more in this natural elements. These are the really good salesmen, the people's like, you got something to sell, I can sell it, okay? I could sell water to a well. That's Mercury in fire and air, okay? Then the next thing here is, being that it corresponds to the original third house, the early school conditioning or school experience will have a profound effect on the identity. So, you know, being someone who's spent years within the realm of education, I've kind of seen a natural trend. Children who are, let's say, more popular in the sense of early on in school are not going to be more successful in life, but they have a natural sociability towards them. They don't necessarily fear new engagements. They're more willing to meet new people and adapt to new situations. So what you'll find is this Mercury the state of that third house in conjunction with how this Mercury is placed in this first house will really give you an idea of their story and why they are the way they are. So let's say we have a harshly aspected third house with this Mercury in the first. It's a late bloomer, someone who, they find their voice later on or can go through a transformation. So who they were as a kid is not who they are as an adult, right? So check for that. But just harping more on that and the third house of skills and hobbies, typically everyone has a talent. But what you'll find with Mercury in the first is that their talent is just a little bit more in line with Mercury things. So remember, there are people in the world who are like work in the courts as sign language interpreters. I always tend to notice them when Biden is giving speeches and stuff. It's all they're signing away. I find that so cool. But that's a form of communication. So naturally, first house people are going to gravitate towards careers and be skilled within doing this. So if you were to do a poll of Mercury in the first, I would probably say 80 to 90% of them are bilingual in some type of way, because it's signifying the mind being able to navigate and be agile in a particular manner. Okay, so even if this Mercury in the first isn't book smart, they got some type of dexterity in regards to language, command, communication. So I want to say like a talent that they can really utilize. So in checking all the major points, third, fifth, ninth, you'll be able to see like, okay, how can this person actualize their intelligence? Okay. Next thing with Mercury in the first is going to be like, because the first corresponds to the physical. I found them to be pretty long people, not necessarily like stocky or big. That's more of a Jupiterian thing. But Mercury, very long, very lean, youthful appearance, and when it comes to personality, I feel like if it's in a lighter sign, a Gemini, a Libra, a Leo, these are your eternal kids, the ones that are able to keep that inner child alive. And then the more communicative this Mercury in the first is, the more you'll find that they have an easier time connecting with their children, and they become really invested within the education and communicative ability of their children. And I've just seen a little link here that these people, you would need to check other factors in the chart, but they tend to give birth to mature children in a sense. I just seen a link with Mercury in the first where their children, we could say they're mercurial in a sense, but they have an intelligence that stands out when they're children, and that could lead them into different realms. Okay, but then focusing more on relationships as a whole for Mercury in the first house, it needs a communicative partner. It needs communication to experience intimacy, right? So if this is in Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, this is going to be very important. Even if that person's not a talker, you being able to communicate to them gives them a sense of reassurance, almost allows them to kind of open up and express a little bit more than they're used to. So you get a lot. You get a lot with this Mercury in the first. But overall, they're my kind of people, man. Quick-witted, agile, and my biggest advice is like just pick one thing in regards to career, man. You may not be meant to do one thing, and that's all right, but you'll never get anywhere being indecisive. So, all right, this is my interpretation of Mercury in the first house. Feel free to chime in. Let me know if you got this position. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, you can do so now. If you need a reading, check my website, send me an email. Till next time, peace.